What's up, guys? Now, we're gonna go into more protesting stuff. Again, history sucks. Now, specifically, we're gonna go into environmental protesting. Alright, so environmental protesting didn't really, gain much momentum. And, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, 1970s, alright? Industrial Revolution, almost more than 100 years before. So, yeah, pollution was not really cared for until the 1970s and 50s and 60s. So it first started with a book called Silent Spring. Now, Silent Spring, basically, what it was trying to say is that, we're killing too many birds. Eventually, we'll kill so many birds that we're gonna not hear the birds chirp anymore. A silent spring. Well, this is because back in the day there was this pesticide, DDT. Its actual scientific name I will not read out because it's too long, alright? And if I did, I would probably butcher it and mispronounce it horribly. So it was a very popular, very popular warlock. It's odorless, tasteless, and, even though it protected the plants, put away invasive animals, birds died from them because birds, it was odorless and tasteless. So they just ate DDT sprayed plants, which led to them getting poisoned, and then they die. Which, it raised awareness like, hey, don't use DDT. So that was the first step. Number two, there was a Clean Air Act that was passed afterwards in response because of climate change. So, climate change went untouched for a century. And then, there's like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should not let dirty air out anymore. This gunk inside the air, it's dirty air. It's mixed with tons of waste materials, all right? So they passed the Clean Air Act during the 1970s, 1980s, which basically like, okay, what I need you to do is pretend this toilet paper is a filter, all right? We're going to need you to make a filter so that when your air goes through, it's clean, not the dirty gunk that, you filter out into our air. So sure, it's not entirely clean, but I would rather see white air, which is much cleaner, by the way, than black gunk, alright? It just feels more fun, alright? It feels more safe looking. And actually, it did have some kind of momentum, actually, because, not because obviously just climate change, there was also, resource management, alright? So Woodrow Wilson and Theodore Roosevelt put a bunch of national parks out. And then Woodrow Wilson, president during the First World War, he, passed he made kind of like a national park protection thing. There were rangers, like, okay, you know what? Because in that time, before, the U.S. really went westwards, there were millions of bison. And then when they did, it was an endangered species. Okay, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't push another kind of species to extinction. So, they passed that act, and now bison are back to like a relatively common animal, but still, not a lot of them are hunted because, not a lot of people eat bison nowadays. You ask anyone, they'll just say beef, chicken, pork, etc. So that's just the first part. And then, obviously, it kept going until the, obviously, 21st century. Vice President Al Gore, actually, he made a little movie, about climate change, how it's affecting our planet, etc., etc. And, that, obviously, got a lot of attention. People liked it. He actually got a Nobel Prize in 2009 for, making the movie. Vice President, by the way. And, nowadays, there's more recent examples. There was hazmat surfing. Or, that's how I describe it, alright? So, it's pictures of, people having fun on the beach, alright? But the problem is, something uncanny about it, is they're all wearing hazmat suits. This projects that because, the dozens or probably hundreds of millions of tons of trash dumped into the ocean daily, it will one day reach a point where the ocean will be so poisonous, so toxic, so unbreathable, that not a lot of fish will live, and people, if they want to swim the ocean, hazmat suits. So, yeah, in the end, the environment is just as important as any political, ideological, ideas. So, take care of your environment. So, that's my video, and goodbye. See you next time.